Agrita is also Deputy State Secretary in Ministry of Education. Since 1 year ago?
Since May.
Since May this year.
7 years, 7 months, I guess, something like that.
So, and you came back from United States?
1 year before, but via UK.
Yeah. So you're I would say recently back in Latvia.
Yes.
What's the feeling between what you were studying in Georgia Tech and the situation you're seeing well in your now direct line of work?
Well, I did my PhD in S&T policy, and I'm working now in S&T policy, so the connection is quite direct, I can say so. Everything I read about and I studied, I see it now in life, and you know, you look there and you read about it, and you look there and you read about it again. More or less, I would say it's very direct connection. It doesn't matter whether you study there or here. I would rather say those things are universal.
What do you see as a differences between what you learned and what the feeling was? And Richard is now putting also the video clip of the Georgia Tech student inspirational speech. What was your feeling? Did you feel differences between the education process there and what experience you had here?
Well, yeah, for sure. If you are putting up inspirational speeches, I think it's very American. Americans want to change the world. I think that's by definition. That's what they want. That's how they are. And I don't know whether that's for real or that's what they tell everybody else.
Should we adopt this?
I don't know. I mean, if we know better things to do, I think I would say we can get busy with those things. Not necessarily you have to conquer or change the world, but I think there are many things to do when you just live your life and want to live it nicely. Enjoy your environment, your friends, your country, your culture. You don't necessarily have to change everything on the earth.
Yeah, we have talked previously with the link with university, and by the way, Gundiga came in a moment after Richard said that she's not here. So Gundiga is working from partly from Latvia and partly from US for Udacity, one of the leading providers of massive online open courses. So she's kind of our insider. And it's funny that the combination is there about Georgia Tech, because Udacity and Georgia Tech has announced master's level degree fully provided through Udacity platform, and the degree provided by Georgia Tech. So what is your feeling about the future of MOOCs, about massive online open courses and their integration with traditional education?
Yeah, I think if you go from the end of your question about integration with traditional education, I think that's probably the right way to go, because we use the technologies for, I think, for the purposes of learning, and that's good. Moving it fully online, I think that would work for people who are already educated. They have found their place, because, you know, in my books, education is as much about learning and knowledge and knowing how to live in a virtual world and environment, as much as about networking in a real life amongst real people in a real space, real time, and maybe place bound too. You know, it depends. You know, there are all kinds of people in the world. World is rounded, global, big. There is place for those who are place bound, and there are place for those who are, you know, somewhere out there. and bomb to nothing, but I think, you know, it's still, there's variety. It will never be set. In my books, it wouldn't replace. There's no way that, you know, sentient will replace sentient.
I guess Sanita mentions living working space for BlackRock's accelerator. I think there's a reason they are combining that in the way.
Yeah, that seems natural.
Yeah.
You bring kids together and they network and they work and the ideas spark. In Georgia Tech, I was involved in evaluating the engineering training course where they did kind of a semester-long real-life project, which was led by a professor, and then the student teams worked themselves on solving some technical problem. That problem could be from how to wire up the football stadium in real time to transfer the content, or how to create the e-platform for learning at the tech, or, you know, there are all kinds of things. And those courses were very successful because of students coming together and doing that work. And the professor was involved, I would say, almost as an outsider, being there in a case if he's needed. But then when the actual work was to be done, those were students. And when we interviewed them, surveyed them for what they've learned and what are the skills that they are taking away from the experience, one was they learned to work together, they learned to support each other, but then they also learned to translate the engineering concepts to the language that is understandable to the clients, and to the public that is not really the engineers. And there were all kinds of people skills around what they did technically for them to be able to succeed in that project and to learn from it.
So that was one semester long course?
It was a couple semester long course, but some of the people came and dropped out, but some of them stayed through a couple of semesters.
What's your feeling? Could for example, master's level program be fully built around a couple of similar kind of projects, real life projects, where teams are getting together, using the professor only as an outsider, as a mentor in case they need that, but focusing on getting the things done?
Yeah, sure. I mean, and then you have to top it with some theory and some sort of bigger picture from the field that they study. It's not only, you know, problem solution is not only the problem solution. When you go for education, you kind of want to get a little bit more. But that was reading the engineering journals on engineering education. That was actually one of the reasons that was identified why people drop out of the engineering schools, is because there's too little of real life in the engineering school. So the answer is yes, it could be, but I think it should be topped with some sort of more theoretical, more traditional, if you can say so, content.
I think there was a great saying that there's nothing more practical than a good theory. Don't remember who was that, but I think
you know, the knowledge that is in books, it's still there. You know, there's still value in that too. You know.
And from your personal experience, what are the core differences between US and Europe innovation system? How universities are involved in this national level ecosystem for innovation?
Core differences. Well, the resources. US is huge. There's huge resources.
Europe is also huge. It's 600 million.
Right, but it's fragmented compared to states. States are more as a single. It is a single market. It's a single country. It's more integrated. People are mobile. You are born in one side of the states. You go for school to the other side of the states. You land for the work in third place, and that's a norm. And if you are in a high tech or tech or science business, then you go where the work is. It's not that you expect that the work will come to your backyard. and you really are ready to take your family, pack it in a truck and drive across the country, land it at the side. And then the amount of the money that is in that system is higher than in Europe. A, B, a lot of the public funding is also allocated to firms. There's lots of government procurement of different kind of innovative projects. The Tesla that you had in the slide is also procurement. It's not procured directly. It was a loan to the company that was given back.
Actually,
yeah, and they gave it back early, but it is under the program of building this, reviving the electric car idea after the crisis was identified in the oil.
So part of public funding in the United States is channeled through private companies.
Yes, the private they say contractors, but then again, there's third thing. Lots of that money is military money. I mean, there's military money that is going in for the research and innovations, and there would be contractors working for the military. Those would be private firms in IT or in some technical solutions that are contractors and who do the research or do the development or for the military. But then there would be also firms as well as universities working for the Department of Energy, for example, on all kinds of energy-related projects and so on. The same for National Institute of Health and health issues, and then generally the Science Foundation. I mean, the system is decentralized, and there are many sort of targeted investments that procure the innovation.
That might be an interesting approach to maybe try also in Latvia, because public there is public money, and even for everyday needs. I'm connected with one of the municipalities near Riga, and that's we have had this discussion that basically there is a chance to use the public money also for developing new stuff if people are not afraid of that. Because of course doing something differently is kind of dangerous and scary, and it's more safe to do it old-fashioned way, but then nothing will happen.
No, I totally agree. I think that public procurement should be used for procuring different kinds of innovations. And like we did a visit with State Secretary earlier this year to Latga and visited a couple technical schools there, and those were schools that were teaching carpenters. And as we were walking through those renovated classrooms, I think only in one school there was furniture built by those carpenters themselves, but then it turns out you can't use the students as a workforce. You can't build the furniture for the school. So you go out, you buy furniture produced God knows where, by God knows whom, of God knows what quality, which is, you know, I don't want to say something like that, but which is, yeah, well, attached. So I thought this is actually quite, this is good. This is quite good. But then, you know, not that stable, not that good quality. And you look at this thing and you think, well, for how long that will last? Well, one day, you know, a growing up kid will jump into that bed. It will fall apart in a year or what. And you know, they could use their own workforce to do something, or to do some work for some other school if they can't work for their school, or not for school, or for a municipality, or for something. You know, if that system would be there in place, if we would have, you know, the idea that we have to buy either expertise or skills or products from locally, and then also from probably, you know, a place where the students are involved, where some innovation can spin out.
And global question: Latvia historically is one of the last places in innovation index in Europe. And how do you think what we should change, and how we could change? What is the higher education role in this innovation ecosystem?
Well, we have to get more ambitious. We have to get that infection that Sanita was talking about into our education system.
How?
How? Well, I don't know, giving people a chance to try and fail. That was, I think, good suggestion.
They board some people from Silicon Valley, from Georgia Tech, who is inspiring our students and with big jobs. And
I think we just, well, maybe I'm infected myself. You know, I spent there after all 7 years altogether. But I think that if you put out a couple of carrots and people see that they can get them, they probably get inspired by themselves. You don't have to sort of inspire them more. My first impression was not actually at Georgia Tech. I started my U.S. Stay was a year in Syracuse at the Maxwell School of Public Administration. And there we had a pretty similar thing as she mentioned of firms going in and recruiting their students via competitions. We had Deloitte coming in and organizing some Deloitte's challenge. They gave us a problem to solve. We worked for a whole day in the teams, and then we were sort of competing with our solutions. And then of what they saw, they offered jobs to a couple of us. Not to me. I won the competition with my team, but you know, as a foreigner, I was not with my English, and at the time I was not even anywhere close to somebody whose job was offered. But at the same time, that spirit you get in this competition, and that competition is actually real. You know the stakes. You know that you are watched for a real opportunity, not just, you know, some $100 you will get there or something. You are watched for a real job opportunity. It was very, very sort of how to say lucrative company in the amongst the administration people. Consulting through the Deloitte is a good option, good career start.
So that's the way they use to basically screen large amount of students to get the most.
Yes, you see the ones who are willing to willing to compete, and who can actually do that in a limited time, solve the problem. You get lots of things going there, and you can really the same as Sanita told about those accelerators. You really can watch what those people can
in real life.
Right.
Okay. Any questions from the audience to see? Okay. Thank you very much. I think to Sunny. Thank you very much, Agrita, for visiting us, and I hope, well, if in any way we can help in your direct job to make the Latvian system more local, more with more entrepreneurial spirit, then we'll be glad to.
Thank you so much. I can return the compliment. I say I'm glad to see ambitions like yours. We need more ambitions like that.
Thank you.
In our country.
Let's
Thank
make
you.
them.